Hello everyone, welcome to my third Python programming video tutorial. In my last two tutorials, I've shown you how you could install Python programming language, and in the second video tutorial, I've shown you how you could use the two functions in Python, which are the most important functions, input function and print function. If you have not seen those video tutorials, please feel free to visit those two video tutorials before we can move on to the third one. Now, in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how you could use some of the most common arithmetic calculations in Python. We're going to look at the most common operators, and the first one will be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, square, hours, and mod. So stay connected with this video tutorial if you want to learn more about these operators. So let's start writing our first program using the arithmetic operators. Now to do that, we go into the file menu and then we click on new file, or you can also press Ctrl N. So once you do that, you'll see the untitled program window, and in this window we can start writing our program. Now let's assume we're going to use two variables x and y, and in my tutorial here I'm going to assign them direct values. So I'm going to write x equals to any value 56, right, y equals to 44, and I'm going to display the addition. So I'm going to use the print function, print, and in bracket I'm going to write my personalized message again. So addition of two numbers, right, and then my personalized message close, comma, and I'm going to write x plus y. So what it's going to do is going to assign the two values 56 into x, 44 into y, and then it's going to display this personalized message, and next to that is going to display x plus y. So let's see if this works. So I'm going to go into the run menu and I'm going to go on to run module, or you could also press F5. Now when you save it will prompt you to save it because it cannot run without you saving the program. I'm going to save that on my desktop and I'm going to call that as addition. Now you'll see it's displaying addition of two numbers 100. Now what it's going to do every time is going to assign this 56 and 44 into x and y. But what I want my program, I want my program to be a little more personalized. I want to ask user to enter these two values. And as I've shown you in the last video, to do that we use the function called input. So I'm going to replace that value 56 by using the function input. I'm going to write input. And I'm going to prompt user what to enter, because otherwise they won't have clue what I'm expecting them. Am I expecting them to enter a name or date of birth or a number, right? So I'm going to make it very specific, and I'm going to say like, please enter first number, okay? And I'm going to now close the bracket. So it's gonna ask them like, please enter first number, and I'm going to do the same thing for y variable. So I'm going to say please enter second number, right? Now it's very important that I tell you this here. Now by default, right, when you use the input function, it takes value from user as string, okay? So whatever you enter is going to take it as a string value or the character value. So even if I enter 10, it's not going to use that 10 as a number. And if I enter anything here, it's not going to, for y variable, it's not going to take it as again as a number. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that, okay? So to see that effect, I need to run the program. So this program is not going to work as intended, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so if I go into the run menu and if I run that module, click, right, sorry, I forgot to close speech mark here. Right, okay, so if I run that again, so run F5. Now I'm entering my first number as 10, as 20. Now ideally these two values should show me the addition as 30, but it's not going to work as intended, as I said. So if you see here, when I press enter, it's going to show me 10, 20. You see that? So addition of two numbers is 10 and 20. So what it has done, it has taken this number 10 as a string, as a name or as a character. And it has taken this 20 as character, because by default, right, the input function will treat the value that is coming as a string value. Okay, so what do we need to do here? right, we need to specify, we need to say like, okay, whatever user is entering here, we want it to be treated as an integer value. So there is a function, or you could also call it like typecasting, which we're going to learn later. So I'm going to write here integer, and then I'm going to close the bracket, and I'm going to close the bracket here. So what it will do here, basically our input function, you all know that what is input function. So any value that user enters here, right, using the input function, it then converts that value into an integer value using this function. Because as I said, like by default, the input function takes any value entered by the user as a string value. So that string value is now changed into an integer value, and it's assigned to x. So similarly, we're going to do that for y variable as well. So integer, and remember this is a function, so I'm going to open up my bracket there, and because I open another bracket, I have to close another bracket. So you'll see like, okay, so what we are asking user, we are asking user to enter the second number, and whatever value the user is going to enter, we are going to then convert that value into integer before we assign that to y. And if I run the same program again, let's use the same value so you can see the difference. So I'm going to type 10 here as my first number, and I'm going to type 20 here. And now you could see the difference, right? So before we had the output as 10, 20 because it was taking them as string value, and then it was just joining them together. And here it has converted those two values into numbers before adding them, right? So this is our first arithmetic program that we have done addition, right? Now the second one I want to show you is how you could use the subtraction there, right? So again, we're going to stick to the same program, and instead of using the plus value here, I'm just going to change the plus value into minus. Okay, so that's my second operator. So if I run the module again, right, you'll see, so it asks me enter the first number. So first number 34, second number 12, right? And you can, sorry, I need to change the method there, it's not addition anymore, so we can just change that to subtraction because that's a personalized message, right? So subtraction of two numbers, right? Okay, so it's not gonna make any major difference apart from the message there. So 23 and then 30, 12, right? You can see subtraction of two numbers is 11, right? So we've now looked at two arithmetic operator, plus and minus. Okay, the other one we could use is multiplication. Now for multiplication, you don't use the multiplication sign. Instead, you use a star. Okay, right, so the star or the asterisk here represents when you press shift and 8, you should get this character. Asterisk here represents the multiplication of two numbers, and again to see that, I'm just going to change that multiplication of two numbers, right? And I'm going to run the module, right? So the first number 12, 5, 60, multiplication of two numbers is 60, right? Okay, so that was our third arithmetic operator. And I'm going to change the same program again, and I'm going to show you how to divide those two numbers. So first of all, I'm going to change that message to divide, division of two numbers. And to divide here, again, we don't use division sign. So instead, we use a /. So let's see if this program works now. So / for division. So you go into the run menu, run module, and let's enter our first number as 30. Right, second number is 5, so 30 divided by 5, that is 6. So because it's completely divisible by 5, you're getting the division of two number as 6.0. Now I'm going to show you how you could do square of two numbers, for example, right? So, well, square of a number, okay? So for example, say I want to show the square of a number x, right? I can just write here, change that to square of let's say first number. Okay, now simple, right? I can write x, and the square is times by the number itself, so I'm going to say square times x times x, right? If I run the module again, you'll see, right, so enter the first number. We don't really need the second number here. I'm just gonna, because I haven't changed the program, you can see that 23 times 23, and that's the square of first number, which is 529. Now another operator I wanted to show you. So the square is very straightforward. Right, so another operator I wanted to show you is the modular operator. So say if you want to show the remainder, so when you divide the first number by second number, what is the remainder for that? So x, we know the division. Now let's see the remainder. Okay, so for remainder you use the percentage sign or modular sign. So x percentage y, right, or the modular y, it will show you the mod of this when you divide the first number by the second number. So I'm just going to say modular, right, and let's see if that works. So run that, click on OK, right. So the first number is 30, second number is 5, which should show the remainder is 0 because 5 times 6 is 30, and that completely divides that number, so we have no remainder. Okay, so you might need to use these operators when you're writing your program. Now I'm going to show you the last operator, arithmetic operator. So say if you want to do the power, so x raised to the power of y. So what you could do, you could just, let's first change the personalized message here. So I'm just going to change that to power, and instead of this percentage sign or the modular sign, I'm going to use times sign or the multiplication sign 2 times, right? So let's see if this works. So if I go on quickly run module, and you'll see enter the first number, so that's 3, second number 4, right? Now if you multiply 3 by 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, you should get 81, and that's our final operator for today. Now when you're working with arithmetic operators, you have to keep in mind that it actually follows the BIDMAS or BODMAS rules, right? Now those of you who might be not aware of what is BODMAS, okay? Now it's the same technique that we use when you're actually calculating the mathematical calculations, right? So when you're solving the mathematical calculations, right? So what does it stand for, right? And the first one, the B stands for brackets. Okay, so what we do, we need to first solve the brackets. So when you're solving a mathematical calculation, you first solve whatever is given to you in the brackets. After that, you then follow the orders. So orders such as when you got square root, things like that, or where you got the powers, right? So you need to follow that order. Then after that, you give the preference to division. After division, you give preference to multiplication, then addition, and then subtraction. So you need to make sure that when you're writing your code in Python, you must take care of this thing. So it goes in order. So brackets, order, division, multiplication, add, and subtract. Now some of you might also know this term as BIDMAS, which is brackets, indices, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction, which is one and the same thing, right? So if you follow this rule, then you will be able to solve the mathematical calculations correctly. And I'm going to show you an example. So let's write a program to check how the BODMAS works. Right, so to write a program, again, file new, control N, right? And let's take a number from user, right? And let's add 4 to it and multiply it by 3. So to take a value from user, so again, x equals to int, so it is going to convert it into integer, input, and in bracket I'm going to write please enter any numeric value. Message close, bracket close, and second bracket close as well. So remember, the number of brackets you open, you have to close those number of brackets, right? Now I want to, as I said, my aim is to times it by 4. I think that's what I said. So x times it by 4. Oh, sorry, let's first add 3, right, and then times it by 4. Now some of you might think, right, so if you go in this order, right, it should be, say if I let's assume that if I enter a 10, it should be 10 plus 3, which is 13, then 13 times 4. But if you look at our BODMAS rules, right, so in the BODMAS we got so the preference of operators is brackets, then order, then division, then multiplication, then we've got addition and subtraction. So the multiplication takes the preference before addition. So it's not going to do x plus 3 first, it's going to do 3 times 4 first, which is 12, and whatever value we're going to enter here for x is going to print that. And let's see if that works, right? So if I press module run. Okay, I'm gonna save that again on my desktop, and I'm gonna call that as BODMAS. Right, so I'm just going to enter 10, so it's like really easy to calculate. So now if you look at this program, I've entered 10 there, right? So some of you might think it should first do like 10 plus 3 and then multiplied by 4, so that will be 13 times 4. But no, the answer is not that. So what it does, it first 3 times 4, which is 12, and then plus 10, which is 22, and that's what you can see here. We've got the answer 22. So when you're doing the same things, like when you're doing the calculations and when you're using more than one operator, so you need to keep that in mind, which operator will take preference over which operator. Okay, so you need to understand that. I hope you found this entire video tutorial very useful. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and share this channel with your friends and family members so they can join us on our journey to Python programming. Also, I would like you to try these programs by yourself, and please let me know in the comment section what you feel about these video tutorials, and if you have any difficulty, do let me know. Thank you.